Daniel, thank you for joining in. Uh, Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Uh, Thank you, Joe, for tuning in. If you just tune in, here again, there is an urgent communique which I wanted to deliver right away. And if you just tune in, please could you share the information? Here again, my name is Fonton Daniel, speaking here from the great state of Texas, coming with the breaking news. Thank you, John, for joining in. Thank you, Clovey, for joining in. Here again, my name is Fonton Daniel, speaking here from the great state of Texas. If you just tuned in, I want to thank you for joining in this evening. I know it may be a different time in your location, depending where you are. Thank you, Lope, for joining in. Here again, my name is Fonton Daniel. I will be speaking live here from the great state of Texas, coming up with the breaking news. Remember that I'm broadcast live on my Facebook and I also broadcast live on my YouTube. So either way, you can always view me live. And if you go to YouTube, remember to subscribe so that whenever I am up, you should be able to have access, get a signal. So go to my YouTube, you type either my name, Fonton Daniel, or you can do Transparency Media International, so that when I am up in the air, you should be able to have this information. So I want to take a moment to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. It might be different time at your locations, and I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are joining in. Thank you, Aura, Wesley. Thank you, John, for tuning in. If you just tune in, just share so that we keep the information sharing. If you're from La Republique, or if you're residing in La Republique, if you are in Ambazonia, if you are here in the United States, wherever you are, I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuning in this evening. Here again, my name is Fonton Daniel. I will be speaking live here from the great state of Texas, here in the United States, and I will be bringing you some breaking news. And I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuning in this evening. Thank you, Brenda, for joining us. Thank you, and thank you so much. So how's your day? I mean, before we come out with thank you, Bob, for joining in. We have another comrade for joining. Thank you, Bob. Yes, and that's great. So if you just joining in and you happen to be on my YouTube, make sure you subscribe, because that is the way you can always have a signal that I am on live. And also you can also on my Facebook. So either way, you should be able to get me live. And I want to take a moment to thank all of you for the great thing that you guys are doing. Together we can liberate our home country, our homeland. And thank you so much. We have one of our comrades, he just subscribed. Thank you so much for doing just that. We have one of our comrades, he just subscribed. Thank you so much for doing that. I am so, yes, that's great. So that gives you the impression that if I'm coming up live, you should be able to get me as well. So I want to take a moment to thank all of you for doing just that, and together we can share the information as soon as possible. And here again, my name is Fonton Daniel. I will be speaking with you shortly, and if you have an opportunity, just share the information. I will be coming up with a new breaking news that is happening now at Victoria. For those who are in Victoria, do you have any Amba live? Do you have any Amba? Any Amba defense group? Because this will be concerning you. The breaking news, it will be concerning you if you are currently in Victoria. If you have Amba boys that are in Victoria, the message that I'm going to be bringing is related to you, and that you need to foil it right away, because this is where the problem is coming from, the Victoria. That is where the problem, that the news that I'm going to be bringing out is in Victoria, not Limbe, Victoria. So that is what I'm going to be bringing to you, is what is happening right now that I'm going to be speaking here in this great state of Texas. And I'm also going to bring this attention to the world community, because the world maybe remain silent about what is happening. But that is what I am going to be telling you, that there is a massive fraud that is going on right now in Victoria. But I will bring in the news soon. So just keep on and share the message, share the information, share, and that is where I'm coming up with the message. Thank you, Silas, for joining. I know you guys can't wait. But anyway, I want to take you, sorry for keeping you waiting. Fellow brothers and fellow sisters, all of those in Ambazonia, this is very, very important. We all are aware that no election shall be conducted. And before we dive into that, I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuning in this evening. It might be a different time at your location, depending where you are. But anyway, it's about 4:30 p.m. here in the great state of Texas, here in the United States. And here again, my name is Funton Daniel. I will be speaking here with you on ongoing crisis in the Federal Republic of Ambazonian. And this message is very urgent for the Ambazonian defense system that is currently in Victoria. If you are in Victoria, this message is for you. If you are the Amber Boys, you are in Victoria, this message is for you. There is ongoing massive fraud that is going right now as I'm getting you this message. There is a massive fraud by La Republic and led by Mafana Musonge. At Mafana Musonge, the current Southern Cameroon is carrying on a massive fraud. As I'm speaking right now, there is a boxes filled with massive cast vote right now in Mafani Musonge's house. Right now in Limbe, they call Limbe, but we call it Victoria. If the Amber Boys is in Victoria now, you need to know where this location. But you have to be cautious because there is a battalion of mixed military of La Republic that surround the compound of Mafani Musonge in Victoria. The area is called Nanga Limbe. Cité Nanga Limbe. Right now that I'm speaking, there is boxes already filled with claiming to be potential vote that is being casted, thinking that the Southern Cameroon has already voted. And that is the fraud, the massive fraud going right now at Mafani Musonge's right in his compound. I think that compound needs to be getting rid of right now because that is the massive fraud that is going on right now that I'm speaking in Mafani Musonge's compound. At Cité Nanga, there is a contingent of military of La Republic, including the plan is to make fill those boxes and send as indicate, because observer mission are not aware of his compound. Whoever they claim to be observer mission, I don't know where they are observing, but the Southern Cameroon territory, now the Federal Republic of Ambazonian, is not participating in the foreign nations in our territory. This message is also be sent to the U.S. ambassador in La Republic. The current U.S. ambassador need to get this information right now. U.S. State Department need to get this information now. Mafani Musonge is carrying on a massive fraud in her compound in Victoria. It's called Cité Nanga in Victoria. Right now that I'm speaking, there is a massive fraud going on. So if Amber Boys, if you are targeting that area, you need to be extra cautious because there is a military surrounding Mafani's house right now that I'm speaking. This massive fraud is what is going on right now, claiming that the people of Southern Cameroon voted. That is what they are looking forward to claim. Fellow brothers and sisters, the mafia has begun again. They have begun again. Remember, the people of Southern Cameroon, now the Federal Republic of Ambazonian, is now a nation and has no relationship with the terrorist government of La Republic. And so any mafia carried on by La Republic in Southern Cameroon territory is absolutely not welcome. And so those Southern Cameroon that is carrying on this massive fraud with the complicity of La Republic, claiming that the people of Southern Cameroon voted for, there will be no Newsers that will stood up and vote for La Republique. And that is why they are filling empty boxes in Musonge, Mafani Musonge's home. There is a massive fraud, boxes filled, pre-packaging in Mafani Musonge's compound right now that I'm speaking. And they are surrounded by military, of contingent of La Republique military. And the boxes are being filled while I am speaking here. So if you are the Amba Defense Force, you need to head that area. There should be any breathing space in that area. And anything that lives within Mafani Musonge needs to be burned down to ashes. We will not tolerate this any longer. Our people have struggled within the past 56 years. And why we have a certain individuals violating the people's will. The people is opted that they will no longer associate with this terrorist government. And that is why we have such a complicity of individuals within our midst. And they have failed to yield to the call for the sovereignty of the people of Ambazonia. And they are instigating and trying to jeopardize the sovereignty of the people. And the people will not be romancing with those individuals. And so if Amba boys, you happen to be in that area, why you should be judicially cautioned? Because La Republique has already pre-prepared it. And now the military of La Republique is surrounding the compound. I think that compound needs to get down, because we will not in any circumstances tolerate this nonsense in our territory. Our people have suffered a lot. Our people have been in the period of agony. And that agony has burst out. And now we must release the pulse so that the wound can start healing. And so any individual that is trying to minimize our will, then that individual will be sacrificed on behalf of our people. We have got enough of La Republique. We have got enough of La Republique. We have asked, we want a simple reform. Our people have asked a simple reform, but yet they haven't called. International community has called for a dialogue. Well, but every foreign bodies, European Union, everybody has called for a dialogue. He wouldn't even care to call, but instead he's choosing the mafia. Our people deserve something better. Our people is capable to manage our nations. We don't need La Republique. And those individuals that choose their personal interest rather than the interest of the people of Ambazonia, we shall get down to those individuals bit by bit, and we shall handle them with personally. And we have got the point. The boy has reached a massive. The boy has fueled the injury side with different to the highest capacity. And that is why even the Surgeon General cannot release the pulse that has filled the cavity of the body of the people of Southern Cameroon. And so we, the people of Southern Cameroon, is only us to release the pulse. And that pulse that has filled the skin of our cavity. And we will no longer tolerate this nonsense. And so if Amba boys, you live around the area, while you take extra precaution, you make sure that no empty boxes leave that compound, must be burned down. Even if it happened to destroy the entire, that particular compound, because we will no longer tolerate this rubbish from a certain individual that choose to romance with La Republique rather than the will of the people. We have got this enough. Enough is 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 enough. Our people has living suffering. You can watch this. This is a home that was just burned. This is a home. I hope the image you'll be able to see. This is a home that just burned last night. And imagine that individuals in a Southern Cameroon territory. That may be the only war he has prepared for his serving, and now that home is being burned down. That is the home by the military of La Republique terrorists. Our people has got enough. Our people no longer deserve this rubbish. Our people doesn't deserve to have all this rubbish. Our people doesn't deserve to have all this rubbish. And then we are speaking, and then we have a certain individual called Musonge allow his compound to be used for ballot filling. I'm sure he's sometimes nuisance in his head. His nuisance when he's using his personal home for the filling of a voting box. Fellow the United States, it is absolutely amazing that we have Africa is one of the rubbish places that one will ever expect. We have, our people has asked, you can imagine that the United Nations that is currently held here in the United States, it hasn't occurred to them that despite that at least 1,000 people have been massively killed, and it has not been one of part of their agenda. And our people are being slaughtered. Our people are being murdered. And you can imagine how frustrated and you have your people that when you call and you find that they have been murdered. I have another video that I wanted to show to you and let you give the conclusion. And if someone has the video, post it, the video that a woman was pulled out of his home. A woman pulled out of his home this morning, if not last night. She was pulled in front of her children. This woman has no ammunition. This woman has no arm. This woman was barely feeding her children. And this woman was pulled out, and her 2 legs were shot dead. Her 2 legs were shot. And when the 2 legs were shot, she bled to death. And in the face of this, United States has never, even if during testing, if they accidentally shot someone, they will immediately call for an ambulance to rush that individual to the hospital. Here in the United States, if an individual is being shot, maybe because they were chasing the particular person that have asked the individual to stop, and the person refused to stop. And if they accidentally shot that individual, they will immediately provide an emergency assistance to ensure that that individual. But today I am speaking with a painful feelings because this woman was shot last night. If not, she was simply pulled out of her house in front of her children. Her 2 legs were shot and she bled to death. That is the most horrific feeling that I can ever announce in this media. That is the most painful thing that one can ever tolerate. It is, and this one in front of her children, and they see their mom shot by La Republique, and they witness and see how the death occurred in their mother, in front of their children, in their house, by the most terrorist military of La Republique of Cameroon. And yet, despite this painful feeling, it happened not a week ago, not 3 days ago, but it happened within the 24 hours as I'm speaking here now. And yet, we have Musonge in his house in Victoria, filling boxes, claiming that the people voted for. It is absolutely, this guy should be discarded and banned for life in the Southern Cameroon territory. These guys, that they haven't yielded their own pain, understand the feeling of the people of Southern Cameroon. I'm sure this is the time that we need to sacrifice those individuals. I am here to speak the United States because it's painful. Because when I see my people going through extrajudicially killing by the terrorist government of someone, that is La Republique of Cameroon, that has been in power for 36 years. and without a single benefit for the people of Southern Cameroon. I think it's time that people need to start sacrificing those individuals that have choose to ignore the calling of the people of Southern Cameroon. They believe we are innocent. The people have gone, the trauma has reached escalating point, and that the people must rise and tell those individuals that they choose La Republic rather than the people themselves. I think this is the moment now we must stand against those individuals. We have got enough. Fellow citizens here in this United States, I'm sure you may have been tired watching me speaking. It is because the painful feeling that when I see the people of the Southern Cameroon, once called the British Trusted Territory, they are a nation. They were voted here in the United States. The United States participated in that election. 64 nations voted to recognize the people of Southern Cameroon as a sovereign nation. And yet their independence has not been yielded. But today our people are being murdered indiscriminately. Especially the woman that I just quoted as an example. She was taken out from her home. And she was taken outside. And in the midst of the children, she was shot on her leg. And imagine the iris when it's been blown off by the bullet of an assailant called La Republic. Imagine that this bullet was an assailant, La Republic, terrorist military, pulled a woman in front of her children and blown off the arteries of her below extremities. And just imagine it like the stream of sea ocean has been blown off. And that is how the woman was simply saying prayer, because she knew that there was nothing to help her. And so she bleed to death because the stream of ocean was simply sliding down. It is a painful feeling that I would never describe or have words to describe it. But however, I am here to let the people of Southern Cameroon, I am here to let the world body, I am here to let United States citizens, that you may feel that something is wrong here. It's because my people, my sisters, my brothers, my distant relatives, my neighbor, or my family distant relatives are being murdered indiscriminately by the most brutal terrorist government of La Republic du Cameroon. And they have no legitimacy over the people. And we have a certain individuals that are colliding with La Republic rather than the people of the Southern Cameroon. Fellow brothers and sisters, something is absolutely wrong here. My funny Musonge, if you got this message, just hold on. My funny Musonge, this is not time for romancing. This is not time for taking people's over their own personal egoistic mind. We will not mind to sacrifice you on behalf of the people, so long as the people are free. And that is what we will choose. We will choose the nuclear option for the people of Southern Cameroon. We will choose the nuclear option because we have got enough of this. We have got enough of this. The people stood for that they do not want La Republic, and that is their wishes. And that wishes must be overcome and must be respected. And we will not in any circumstances choose those individuals that ignore the will of the people. The will of the people is more powerful than your own personal egoistic mind. The will of the people is much important than your own personal egoistic mind. And that is why I am letting the people of Southern Cameroon, the Federal Republic of Ambazonian, that is being planned by La Republic. Our people has concerned that such an election cannot be conducted in the Southern Cameroon territory. And we have a certain individual called Musonge in his compound at Site Nanga in Victoria. That is where the massive fraud is going on as I'm speaking. And if the Amber boys, you are in that area, and there should be no individual locations. There should be no individual exiting that locations. It is circumstances. Tolerate any longer. We will not, in any circumstances, tolerate it any longer. Our people have deserved their own sovereignty. And this is the moment that our people must be free. Must be free. They must be free. We got to get the people out of that nonsense. And any citizen is complying. We have declared the public enemy, whether it's CPDM, whatever it is called. It is in Southern Cameroon. There should be no FEG, any status that someone put on and show up at the Southern Cameroon territory. Then that person is a sacrificial lamb. This is serious. Whether you will take it or not, whether you like it or not, our people got to be free, and they got to be free. For those who choose La Republique, and again, Santa, maybe you've been sleeping. Santa, if you've been sleeping, I am telling you, it's time you wake up. Achinachu will transfer to Yaoundé because he's meddling with our people. On your retirement, you need to abandon La Republique, or you choose retirement, enjoy your retirement, or you choose La Republique. It's at stake, and we will not be wrong. Or you rest meddling with the people. Any subsequent individual that is still meddling with the people of Southern Cameroon, you will meet the people retire, you will meet the wrath of the people. So those in Santa, I have told you, we will not in any circumstances announce this anymore. Those carry on the FEG of La Republique in Southern Cameroon territory should be immediately take notice. And those individuals, get them, and we will know what to sacrifice them for. It is pathetic, and we haven't gonna have this, tolerate this anymore. We will not tolerate this anymore. We will not tolerate this anymore. We have asked you to leave. If you are on our planet, it doesn't concern you. But those that a decree was signed and are given a post of authority and leave. Because we will not in any circumstances be romancing with those individuals anymore. The time has come and gone. But our people need to be free. Our people need to be free indeed. Our people need to be free. Rise. Please. There is a it's called Dana, D-A-N-A. There's a package of rice shipped. That rice is serious health concern. And anyone, if you have any of those rice in your home, please, you have to discard this. There is a rice from Pakistan. It's called DANA. And La Republique allowed those rice to get in. And most of them might be shipped to the Federal Republic of Ambazonian. And if you have those rice, you might want to discard it. It's called DANA. DANA. Its package is blue. The package of that bag is blue. That is from Pakistan. That rice is contaminated. Or it's not meet up the human consumption standard. So if you have it in your home, please discard that rice. Please discard that rice. Please discard them if you have them. It's called Dana, D-A-N-A. It's a rice from Pakistan. If you have it, make sure you discard it right away. Make sure you discard it right away. Make sure you discard it right away. And we have this individual, Musonge, Ngole, Ataganji. Those are the individuals that are tampering with the will of the people. And remember, the will of the people shall overcome individual egoistic mind. The will of the people is powerful than a single individual egoistic mind. Fellow brothers and sisters, I am here to let us know that we are free people, but we have to fight to defend our title. We are a free people. We are the free people, but we must stand firmly, fight to gain our freedom, and we will not be romancing any time with any individual. As you get this message, you act upon it. October 1, which is tomorrow, is the Independent Day of the Southern Cameroon. Let the Republic enjoy that, celebrate their own day. They have their own day. They ignore it. They don't want to celebrate it. But they want to manipulate the people of Ambazonia. October 1 is tomorrow. Happy Independence Day, fellow brothers and sisters. October 1 is an independent day in the Federal Republic of Ambazonian. That is the day the United Nations announced the effective day in which the Southern Cameroon will enjoy their independence. La Republic doesn't have independence. They don't celebrate. Their own is January. They don't celebrate their own independence. But our people must celebrate our independence. That's the day our independence was proclaimed by the United Nations. We all must enforce it. And we must celebrate it. So we must celebrate it with high dignity and love. For fellow brothers and Southern Cameroon, we are together in this business. La Republique can never conquer us because our fight is genuine. Our people is genuine. Our people must stand together. And La Republique, we know that there's some filthy individual in our midst. It's just like a parasite in our body. But we must have the highest dose of antibiotic and reinforce our immune system, boost our immune system so that it must encircle those bacteria and fold them out and ship them out of our cells so that we can be the liberal people on this earth. Fellow brothers and sisters, am I speaking to you all? Am I speaking to you all? We got to stand for our freedom. The international community may ignore us, but we will not ignore ourselves. We must stand against the enemy. If you know where the enemies are, go after them. Tell them, your home is not here. Go to La Republique. Because we will not be romancing with La Republique in any time soon. Fellow brothers, Musonge, he been feel a pre-packaging. He's doing what they call a pre-packaging. Pre-packaging in preparing for October 7 in La Republique. La Republique ought to be celebrating their own independence and preparing their own election and stop meddling in the internal affairs of the people of Ambazonia. I want to take a moment to thank all of you, wherever you are. And if you haven't listened to this message, please share it so that other people should be aware of this mafia that is being carried out by Musonge. Musonge, we are watching you. We are watching you. Remember, as we keep on watching you, you are in a danger zone, please. We have warned you time and again. And those that are planning to carry on such an action in the Federal Republic of Ambazonian, those who are planning to put another boxes, please, if you got this message, then you need to discard it right away. Because when we come across those boxes, then you will be boxed in there and shipped to Yaoundé in a different format. We have asked you, we have warned you, we have notified you that we do not want any other individual. But if some that are still planning to carry on such a motive, planning to fill a box, we will fill you back into the box and disband you and discard you and ship back to La Republique in a different format. This is the Southern Cameroon. This is the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. This is no longer La Republique. Our people are dying. Our people are being slaughtered. Our people are being killed by someone we invited to our home. Imagine we invited La Republique to our home. They want to control our own aspect of our life. Is that not painful? We invited someone to our home. They want to control our home and decide what has to be done in our home. Our people, we invite La Republique to our home. They want to control our home. They want to decide the future of our home. Our people are suffering. Fellow brothers and sisters, tomorrow is October 1st. They're marking the day of the United Nations voted for the sovereignty of the people of Ambazonia. That day take effective was October 1. So every October 1 is the day of the independence of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. You must celebrate it with dignity. You must celebrate it with victory. You must celebrate it with harmony. If you are in ground zero, if you are in the midst of the forest, celebrate this day with dignity. If you are in the water, you celebrate it with dignity. If you are in the midst of the forest, you celebrate it with dignity. If you are being roasted by La Republique, you celebrate it with dignity. If you are like one of our sisters that was bleed to death 24 hours ago, then she will be celebrating with dignity on our way to heaven. Fellow, let's pray for our sisters, that our sister that was brutally murdered by indiscriminately a terrorist government of La Republique in our homeland. She was basically in her doorstep. She was pulled out and she was shot. But she is heading to the God's kingdom, and that she will be celebrating to the God's kingdom. That the enemies of our nation is at work. But we, the spirit of nationalism and the spirit of dignity, we shall overcome. And if you haven't been part of this momentum, I urge you to be join the momentum, because our people have got enough of La Republique. And if you happen to stop by at the YouTube, Google Transparency International, Transparency Media International, and look for Funton Daniel. And that should be me. Then you should subscribe, so that when the future messages come, you should be aware. So our people must celebrate the day of our sovereignty, that the United Nations voted, and the effective day was October 1st. Let La Republique celebrate their own day. Let La Republique celebrate their own day, and let them stay in their kingdom, and allow our people to be free. We must stand firmly. We must unite together. There are enemies that are infiltrating us. So let that enemy doesn't disturb our peace and tranquility. Please don't see, if you have a problem with your brother, make a phone call. Call that person and apologize if you are wrong. Apologize if you are wrong, because we need to strengthen ourselves, because if we don't strengthen ourselves, we will not be able to defeat our enemy, because we must strengthen ourselves and stand as a one people, together, unshakable, unstoppable. That is the will of the people of Ambazonia. We will not be stopped by any individual. And so if your brother does something wrong, call him and be ready to accept the phone when it rings. Do not block your phone when your brother calls, because we, the people of Ambazonia, is now on more united than ever before. If your brother does a wrong, call him, say, boy, you did it wrong. Even if you didn't, even if you don't want to admit it, and let's move forward. Let's stand strong, because the more strong we are, the more we find difficulty for the enemy to. Just imagine if you have a very strong immune system. No bacteria shall penetrate your immune system. So, but when you have a weak immune system, it is easy for the bacteria to have quick access. So if we have a strong defensive system like the immune system acts very rapidly as soon as the bacteria hit part of the body. and they immediately encircle the bacteria. And that is how we must act like immune system. We must stand as immune system. We must walk like immune system, because the immune system doesn't take a minute before it responds. The immune system acts rapidly, immediately surround the bacteria. But an individual that has a weak immune system, it is easy for the bacteria to encircle and penetrate that individual. And that individual may probably need a hospitalization. We don't need hospitalization because we have a strong immune system that protects us against the enemy. The enemy is La Republic and not us. Let's stop weakening our immune system, because the bacteria is not us. The bacteria is La Republic. And so let's face the bacteria that is penetrating our immune system, because our immune system is stronger than ever before. I want to take a moment to thank all of you that were watching this today. May God bless you, fellow brothers and sisters. Ambazonian people must be free, and must be free at last. Thank you. I love you all. Good night.